The other day, I was mindlessly scrolling through TikTok, just wasting my life away, when a video hit my feed with the caption, "Whose f***ing house is this?" Given what I do here on YouTube, of course this video caught my attention. I didn't know whose house this was, but I was determined to find out. The comments were pretty funny. A bunch of people were commenting saying that this must be Baby Billy's house because of the crossed pool in the backyard. If you don't know who Baby Billy is, just watch the Righteous Gemstones show. You won't regret it. As I was scrolling through these comments, I was figuring that some internet detective would have pinpointed who this mansion belongs to, but I didn't see that anywhere. No one was talking about who the actual owner was. So it was time that I got to the bottom of this one, and what I uncovered was, for one, an epic home with some epic features. This place is sitting on over 5 acres of land. It's got almost 50,000 square feet of living space, and it turns out it is not owned by Baby Billy. It's not owned by any of those mega church pastors, despite that massive cross-shaped pool in the backyard. This property is known as the Bradbury Estate. There's kind of a lot to unpack here. Let's dive into it. All right, so the Bradbury Estate is located at 172 Bliss Canyon Road in Bradbury, California. This is a pretty small equestrian-oriented community at the base of the San Gabriel Mountains, with a population of only about 1,000 people. Just like anywhere else in California, Bradbury is a very expensive place to own a home. There's several mansions here priced over $10 million. Just the land alone in this area goes for as much as $1 million an acre. With the town being less than an hour east of cities like Bel Air and Beverly Hills, it kind of makes sense as a nice little getaway town for somebody who wants a vacation home away from the city. Enough about Bradbury though, let's talk about the Bradbury Estate. Who built this house? Who owns this house now? What's up with the cross pool? How much is this house actually worth? I've got a lot of questions. The story starts way back in 2012 when a commercial real estate tycoon named Don Abbey custom built a couple of mansions for himself. Business Insider said that Don spent a combined $200 million and 18 years to construct a mansion in Bradbury and then another compound in Montana. But in 2012, I guess he had a change of heart and he decided to list both the homes for sale for $78 million a piece. Now we have to look at these houses together, especially the Montana one. This place is ridiculous. But first, who the heck is Don Abbey? I've never even heard of this guy before. It turns out Don is actually a pretty low profile guy. He doesn't have much of an online presence. He's not on the Forbes list. He's not even on Wikipedia. It's weird because typically these guys who are able to afford to build a couple $100 million mansions are kind of somewhat in the spotlight or the public eye. But not Don. He's flying completely under the radar. The only online info available on Don is from his company's website, the Abbey Company. This is a real estate operating company that Don founded in 1990. It calls him a 45-year veteran of the national real estate industry. And according to the company webpage, he's still the chairman and CEO of the Abbey Company to this day. It's no surprise that you build up a big enough business in the commercial real estate industry that financially, you're gonna be doing all right. So Don might not have all that interesting of a story, but the houses that he built are on another level. I want to take a look at those, starting with the Montana one, actually. This place is completely ridiculous. This is one of the most epic estates I've ever laid eyes on. The only place I was able to find photos and info on this property are from this website, privateislands.com. So I guess this is probably where they sold the house last time they sold it. So Shelter Island is obviously an island. It's a 22-acre island, actually, so it's pretty big, and is sitting on Montana's Flathead Lake. Don built the largest private home in all of Montana here. It's 32,000 square feet, and the place has 7,000 feet of lake frontage. We have got 45-foot ceilings in the great room. I highly doubt that the scale of those ceilings are gonna show up in the photos. That's hard to wrap your head around. Like around here, if you've got 16-foot ceilings in your great room, that's impressive. 45 foot, I honestly can't even picture that. The rest of this just gets into the weeds on like all the little details that he put into this place. Mahogany panels, the conservatory is in here. Okay, now let's get into the pictures. So remember, we got 22 acres here we're working with. It looks like 4 boat docks. Here's a cool shot of the main house. Another thing that was interesting too is I guess there's some state-of-the-art system that brings utilities to this house that runs through the lake. So your water, your gas, your electric, probably not sewer, it's probably on septic, but your other utilities are all running through the water. That's pretty crazy. I think every square inch of the exterior of this house is wrapped in stone. Yep, every square inch, even the ceiling leading up to the front door. They raved about the fireplaces in this house in the listing description, so let's just take a second to admire this. Here's another photo of that great room. I was right, the scale of this room does not pick up on photos. You guys let me know, but to me, this does not look like 45 foot. This photo might not look all of that exciting, but let's just take a second to appreciate all of the detail happening just in this shot alone. Like whatever this cabinet is beautiful. Then look at all the trim work around this doorway, around this window, the baseboards. Like this is all stone. Not quite sure what we're looking at here. Possibly a custom headboard in the master bedroom. Here's the master closet, very nice. Oh yeah, look, that's the headboard for sure. God, look at that bedroom. Just like how the outside is wrapped in stone instead of stucco, the inside's wrapped in stone instead of drywall. Hard telling what this room is. I would guess an office or maybe a lounge, but again, look at all of that woodwork and detail. Look at those coffered ceilings. Here's another angle of that room. They got the lighting right too. You gotta use a warm light when you're in a room like this that's wrapped in wood. Obviously, from every room in this house, you're looking out at the lake because this is an island we're talking about. Beautiful kitchen. And you know what? Another thing that I'm thinking about as we're flicking through these photos is imagine getting all the materials to this site. This is an island, so from the concrete to the framing to all this stone, the cabinets, the countertops, the appliances, like that all had to be taken here by boat. That's pretty crazy. What I don't understand is why the heck would Don want to sell this house? Like he spent half of his life building it. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm sure he enjoyed a lot of great memories here. Maybe he just didn't use it all that much. I don't know, but to me, if I spent 20 years building this house on this island, I'm never selling it. That's just me though. Speaking of selling it, he finally sold it in 2018 to an anonymous world traveler. The exact sales price isn't crystal clear, but according to a deed transfer from 2015, it looks like the property closed for $41.8 million. And honestly, that kind of feels like a bargain to me. Now going back to the video that inspired today's video, we figured out who owns this house, but now we need to take a look at the house. First of all, check out the specs. This is a bit unusual. We've got 7 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and 47,000 square feet. A house this size typically has like twice the number of bedrooms and baths. And look down here at the price history. So this is when Don originally listed it for sale in 2012 for $78,800,000. He just kept dropping the price and dropping the price. Like every year he would drop it another 10 million bucks before it finally got all the way down to $30 million before it went pending sale. It sold in 2017 for $24 million. And look at this. The buyers who bought it in 2017 resold it 5 years later. They sold it for 22.5 that time. So whoever bought it from Don lost their shirts on this deal. What this just goes to show is that there's not always a ton of money to be made in these super high-end, super custom homes like this. Like people oftentimes are building these houses in markets that can't support that price, or they're just putting all these weird bells and whistles into the house that future buyers aren't interested in. Anyways, let's look at a couple of these photos. So here's the property. It's 5.5 acres. We got the main house here, the garage over on the right, I believe. This is probably a guest house on the left. In the back, we even have a pond on this property. There's a close-up of the cross-shaped pool. I still wasn't able to figure out why Don put a cross-shaped pool in his backyard. What I want to know about this pond is, what are the maintenance routines on a pond? Like if any of you guys out there own a pond on your property, what do? Do you just like stock it with catfish and those things just kind of keep it clean or what? Grand entrance, I mean, you can just tell that no expense was spared when he was building this place. Between the paver driveway, these columns, all the stonework on the exterior, all these arches, there are just so many cool perspectives of this house. Like this is grand. They give us a couple views of if you're in that swimming pool, and just look at these shots. It just goes to show you how massive this pool is. Oh look, the lake even comes with its own little waterfall. Inside, he went just as crazy with the finishes. All this custom tile work, these marble columns. Like, just look at this room. It's no wonder this thing took 18 years to build. Kind of sad seeing it all empty though. This is, I'm guessing, the office/library. At one point it was probably furnished perfectly, full of books. I like the skylights, how those are like stained glass windows. We got this long dramatic hallway leading to who knows where, but look at this. I love how he set this thing up for his artwork. We've got these light fixtures with a drywall inset like every probably 6 or 8 feet. Oh my gosh. Like, who needs something like this in their house? This is someone who goes to the Sistine Chapel and then they just come home and they're like, I have to have something like that in my house. I just have to. Big walk-in closet with all these custom built-ins. And that's actually all we got for Zillow, but I found some older photos on Yahoo of the place when it was actually furnished. Look, there's a little wine cellar, some random seating room with some more crazy detail on the ceiling. Whoa, okay, so that room we were looking at a minute ago, that was the master bedroom? What? This place comes with a movie theater with a bunch of furniture that looks like it's straight out of the 80s. There's a shooting range somewhere in this house. At one point, he had a home gym in here. There is what the library looked like when it was all furnished and full of books. And I didn't catch this earlier, but I guess somewhere out back off the pool, you got a hot tub too. If you looked at the original video and you guessed that this house belonged to one of those televangelist guys like Kenneth Copeland or Joel Osteen, it wouldn't have been a horrible guess. These guys could certainly afford a house like this. Baby Billy though, not so much. I'll see you guys next week.